Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show. You know, don't touch that remote. Ladies and gentlemen, show today is all about helping people. And that's what it's all about. You know, and there's a lot of help out there for people that need help. And they're not aware of what's out there. And my guests today are going to be talking about how we can help you in case you need help. As you get older, you know, everything starts to wear out and break. So, you know, you want to prepare yourself. An informed person is a healthy person. So know what to do, who to call, where to go. So doctors don't make house calls. So we're coming in your house and tell you something, how you can help yourself. People helping people. Nothing so good as people helping people. My guest today from the Crossroad Hospice. Now, we're going to explain what that's all about. And we have a nurse. You know how important, you know, God made nurses to help everybody. He couldn't be everywhere, so he made nurses. Okay? And then we got the chaplain, who is a support and someone you can talk to. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce them and let them say it with their own name. Okay? Tell them who you are and what's your name.
I'm Tammy Bolt, and I work for Crossroads Hospice as a RN case manager.
Okay, and?
I'm Mark Oxter. I'm a chaplain with Crossroads Hospice. I'm also a Presbyterian minister, but we have all kinds of different types of chaplains.
Good.
That work with
Okay,
us.
so I'm Catholic, right? So you come to my house, you're welcome.
That's right.
So, all right, now, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is hospice? What is it?
Hospice is a philosophy of care. And I think a lot of times people think of hospice, they think death or cancer. But hospice is for the terminally ill, but at the same time, we're a team, a group. We have Mark, who is a chaplain. We have social workers. We have private home aides that come to the home, plus a nurse. So we have a multidisciplinary team that helps with the family dynamics that are going in the home.
In other words,
it's a philosophy of
and
care.
also you have someone that helps circulation with the feet or so, the massage or so.
Could be
another
part of
thing
the
that,
care,
you know,
right? Because the nurse comes in and she develops a care plan, a plan of care for the patient.
Yeah, the hospital isn't just for the people that are dying, right? Tell me.
No, it's not for people that are just dying, but they're people that are severely ill with illness that could give them a life expectancy of 6 months or less. Now, we do have people that are on hospice longer than 6 months, and we might have people that come on hospice and then pass away within 2 weeks.
Right.
But when I teach my families, I always teach, you know, we're here to help with the quality of life that is left.
That support, right?
Support, and you know, a lot of times you become friends with your patients and the family, and just supportive care.
Well,
for sure.
now you supply medicine also.
Well,
How's that
everything,
work?
yeah, everything has to be provided. You cannot do any I'm just a nurse, and we have to go through the doctor. We're kind of like
okay,
his,
yeah, explain that.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're kind
okay.
of like his eyes and ears, because he can't be everywhere. He can't be in the home, in his office. So we make the assessments. The nurses make
With their family doctor.
Right. So we coordinate with the family doctor, and we're kind of like the eyes and the ears of the doctor. We see symptoms, we see fever, we see maybe urinary retention or wounds or a change in mental status. Well, we can call that doctor and get medications that we need or give him an update.
Right.
But, you know, a lot of symptom management, say fever, pain, nausea, vomiting, constipation,
Right.
that type of stuff.
Chaplain.
Well, you know, it used to be when I was younger that when people were ill, very ill, they go to the hospital, they might spend weeks or months there, and then you never saw them again.
Right.
That's not the way it is anymore.
no.
And so, one is that the hospital, the medical insurances want to get folks out of the hospital, but then where do you go? Home? But a lot of people would rather be at home than in a hospital or a facility. So that's actually, providing care to folks where they want to be. So when people come on hospice, and this is the part where the chaplain comes in, because we don't know when people are going to die.
No.
It's a mystery.
No.
It's very
Well,
mysterious, and it could be months, it could be years, depending upon.
Right.
Everybody's unique, depending on their condition. But if people can stay in their homes, be cared for by loved ones or folks who care for them in the home, that's a much better option than just going someplace else. Sometimes families can't take care of them, and there's no shame in that. Everybody's unique, and it depends on that.
They don't know.
But so we meet people where they're at as far as what their needs are and what they do. And so Tammy, she's the medical part, and she's helping to keep people physically comfortable. And then nurses, as well as myself, social worker, other people are giving psychological, and emotional support to not only the patient, but everybody involved with them and the family.
Well, you, as a chaplain, as a minister, I should say man of God, right?
You could.
When I was a policeman in Norristown, I went on a scene of a murder, and a fella shot a lady. No, I mean the lady shot the man. I'm sorry, and the bullet and stuff was coming out of his head, and so I was in an emergency wagon, so I was the first one on the scene. So I took an ambulance, took him to the hospital. 2:00 in the morning, finally they got a surgeon. Brain surgeon from Main Line. He got there, and I'm looking, and I had to stand guard because we didn't know whether the guy that did the shooting was whatever. So he looked, and I see this white stuff coming out. So I said to the surgeon, I said, "What is that?" He says, "It's brain." How do I know? I'm a policeman, but I'm no surgeon, know anything about that, So I said, well. I couldn't believe it. I said, the fact, how can it be still alive? Alive. And so I said to him, I says, "Doctor," I says, "is he going to live or die?" And big, tall, I think he was from Norway or Sweden. He looked at me, he says, "Who am I to say if he's going to live or die?" Okay?
Well, most folks don't die that traumatically or suddenly, but probably more than 90% of us will kind of just more like fade away, and just our abilities to maintain our health will diminish over a period of time. So we usually don't have a lot of trauma, in that way, but most of us are going to, are not going to be able to get around, and as we get older, we feel things, we have limited abilities to do things, and if we have a chronic condition that can, sometimes we know that when we can't live on our own, then we need some help and need to bring health care into the home.
Hank, hospice works with diseases like cardiac, and we're going to say end-stage diseases, end-stage pulmonary, end-stage cardiac, end-stage dementia, end-stage cancer. Hospice is where you have the curative or seeking a cure is no longer an option because you've declined and there's not going to be a cure. So, if any doctors are listening to this or are family members where you've just reached the point where it's like, okay, we're done, but hospice is an extended care to help with the quality of life that is left. And I know for me and for the nurses that work at Crossroads and for the social worker and the chaplain is to provide a good death.
Right, easy. We can talk about that. I'll give you a personal experience later.
But
Chaplain.
it's hard for people to talk about death.
Yes.
This is kind of a death-defying culture, and it's not if we die, it's when we die. So if we can open that up, we're not going to force anybody to talk about that, but we're there to support if people want to do that, and to understand that we're not going to live forever.
Right.
Makes today more precious.
That's what the movie. I forget the name of the movie when John Garfield and the gangsters said to him, "We're going to get you if you don't fix that fight." And he looked at, "What are you going to do? Kill me?" Everybody dies. That was the ending of it, though. But let me tell you what I like about you, okay? When I get my guests here, I like to throw roses.
We'll take them.
Your son is a police officer in Lower Merion, is that right?
He is.
And, and so you have experience of being a father of a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what it's like for a wife to be a wife of a police officer, And also your dad was a veteran, war. So you got all these experiences, When you talk with experience, you talk with, that's what I like about somebody that is not afraid. If you want to swim, you got to get in the water. And you've been swimming in the water pretty well, right?
Well, professionally.
Tell me about your dad.
Yeah, well, professionally, Tammy and I, we meet, everybody's unique. We meet all kinds of different people. So, it's, so that's our privilege to do that. But then we have our own personal, situations. Even today, as we're taping the show, my father, who's 88, World War II vet, lives down in Washington, D.C. My sisters are there helping him come on hospice. My mother died 8 years ago. He's been living by himself. He wants to live by himself.
He wants to.
Yeah, because he can still move around. He thinks if he can walk a mile to Starbucks, that he's healthy.
He gets coffee.
Some days he can't make it. And so, but this way, instead of, going into a facility, he's able to live at home. He'll have a nurse come by and check on him a couple times a week, and he'll have some people to help him negotiate what needs to happen.
And he's 88.
So he's 88.
Right.
So he recognizes finally. He's been in denial for quite a few years, but he recognizes now that he can't do it all on his own.
Yeah.
He's been independent, taking care of himself, decades.
Yeah.
But it catches up to you.
Right.
So it's catching up to me. I don't get around like I used to.
Well, the same thing. November the 9th, I'll be
92.
92. Oh my God, I'm running out of numbers. But I've been very fortunate, that I was a policeman, a referee, a boxer, was in the Army. I got, 2 hip replacements, heart bypass. I got all these things, but I'm still bobbing and weaving, so somebody up there likes me.
Yeah, and your daughters want you to slow down.
Oh, yeah.
And then one of them asked me, what do you think? I said, he sounds like a superhero to me. I mean, he keeps all the stuff going, and he
I got
keeps
3
going,
daughters.
so what are you going to do?
And before I came on this show this morning, she says to me, watch it now. It's raining out, and watch the slippery leaves. I said, all right, I got to watch. So I'm watching every leaf.
But I will say, for me, as a nurse, it's always an honor and privilege to be in that home, and especially when death is imminent, to help facilitate maybe medications, sometimes not even words, but just a soft touch. But to really be in tune to the family and be in tune to the death that is approaching, and just I always feel a privilege to be present at that death, because everybody has a life. They've led a life, but now they're coming to the end of that life. Yeah. And, I always say, you normally have a nurse bring you into this world, and that's a joyful time with the birth of a baby. But we hospice nurses help take people out of this world, so to say, or to be alongside of them, or to give medications for symptom management. So really, I think a nurse is from cradle to grave, which I am very thankful to be in the nursing profession. You know, it's just always been a privilege. I know some people say, how can you work with death? But you meet so many wonderful people.
Yes.
And especially meeting Hank and his wife Dolores and his family, and what a great, great family. And I always felt honored to be in their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't go to school to be hospice workers. You know, there's no major hospice in college. Well, what happens is we come from all our different disciplines, you know, nursing, medicine, you know, social work, you know, chaplaincy.
Healthcare aides.
Right, and because we've had some experience along the way of loss. And the great thing about living a long life is that it's a double-edged sword. You live in a long life, but the longer you live, the more loss you encounter along the way.
Oh, my God, yeah.
You know, so it's so having a good life while we still live is being able to deal with the losses and limitations that we have. So I've seen people even in their last days, you know, reconcile with, you know, a sibling or a child, or come to some, you know, thoughts about the meaning of their life, right up until the last. You know, people can grow and experience, and the legacy of who they are and what they do is tremendous.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe they should have a course in school about helping, as people get older, how we can help each other, you know. When my father never changed diapers. My mother did that. 4 boys and 4 girls. He never changed a diaper. When I got married, had 4 children, I never changed a diaper, you know. Then when my wife got sick and had to, before I got hooked up with your agency, I had to change diapers. So, you know, and it's quite an experience, you know. And
Like, I've never done this before.
Should know, yeah. I think there should be helping to be able to detect when we need help. You know. Now, sometimes we get some questions from the audience, and I'll let you read it. I got a question from the audience. Here.
Okay.
Read it out loud.
How do we decide to put someone in hospice? I think there's a collaboration with your doctor, and that is between you and your doctor. But there are indicators, especially when the doctors would say, maybe, you know, I just feel like Mr. or your mom or your dad only might have 6 months or less to live. What would you like to do? I think hospice. You know, and the doctors are getting educated more, because I think the last statistics, I think I said that wrong, is 40% of people die in hospice a year. So 40% of deaths are in hospice.
All right, now, when you, I tell you now that hospice, my wife, Dolores, passed away not too long ago, a couple weeks. And it's my first show since then. And I want to know, tell the people, when you came to my house on Powell Street, what you did first thing is, Dolores, I had to move the bed downstairs. I had to get another bed, so I would be with her downstairs. She couldn't go up the stairs. So all these things start closing down and all. So tell me, you walk, when you come in, we welcome when the nurse comes.
Yeah, well, for me, and I know from Mark, our eyes are very trained towards assessment. We're assessing the patient, we're assessing the family, we're assessing safety in the home, we're assessing functional decline, mental decline, pain. So we're going to do what we call coordination of care. And the coordination of care would be interventions that we make along with the doctor to provide quality of care and assistance to keep the patient in the home. Let's say Dolores, she was going up and down steps, but then she got to the point where she couldn't walk anymore. So what do? We are going to provide her with a hospital bed down in the main room. So we do those type of assessments to make sure that things are running the best they can.
And then I was able to get what they call it, I call it the trolley, or
The stair lift.
chair that goes up the
Yeah.
steps. So some nights, she could walk up the steps, you know, with help with the railing and all. And then some nights we put her on the chair, and I'd push the button and the thing goes up real slow, you know. But then she couldn't do that, couldn't walk. No more.
So what you saw over, you know, the time that we came is progression of the disease and decline. And that's what, you know, when they say like, you know, 6 months or less, sometimes people do better. I think because we're coming in, they're getting the emotional support, they're getting socialization.
Like, that's where he comes in. I remember when you come in
Yeah.
and say some prayers over
Yeah.
Dolores and prayers over me too, because the caretaker needs help too.
Right,
Yes.
so we always check in. So the assumption is that when we talk about what's going on with us and we get it out, we feel better.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean we're making you say anything. We're there. We're giving you the opportunity, but
Got a
know,
listening ear.
yeah, and we're not afraid to talk about the difficult things. We want to be honest, but we want to be sensitive.
Well, that's when
you know.
when you mentioned that the time came when you said it's getting close. You better notify your family, notify your priest, whoever, you know. So that's, you know, things that stay with you, you know.
And at Crossroads, we do what we call even more care. When we see the death is imminent within, you know, 48, 72 hours, we provide somebody at the bedside. We feel like nobody should die alone. Sometimes, like your family had great support
that's right,
services,
that's
but
right.
there are people that it just might be. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a lady pass away with nobody. She had no children,
Oh, God.
but she had a lady in the apartment building that befriended her and was her only friend. You know, when it comes to even more care, we just feel nobody should die alone and have somebody there.
Yeah,
right.
I know when Dolores was there and told me she wasn't eating, that's the first sign. Don't eat, no eat 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever. So, and I think it said the last thing that is the hearing goes. So even though no response or anything, I start singing in her ear. I say, hey, goodbye, she was sonati, and her lips moved a little bit like that, but she smiled.
Yeah.
See? So it was a happy death, you
Yeah.
know. All right, now how about, here's another nice question from the audience.
What do hospice staff do after the death?
Well, that's how we got here.
Yeah,
We
that's how
popped
we.
in on, yeah. The door was
I wanna
open, we
share-
stopped by,
I
and it's
wanna
like,
share
hey, you
my
want to be...
experience. I don't want to be bragging or
Yeah.
anything. I just want to. I
Yeah.
want to help you.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
It-
everybody dies.
You know, it is difficult, but nobody goes into hospice. I know personally for myself is I have a philosophy statement. It's to do what I do, working with the people that I work with, which helps me. I kind of stay focused on that mission or that statement of my life and my purpose, why I do hospice nursing. Because, you know, we do work with death. And, but again, I always feel a privilege, honestly, a privilege to be present when somebody takes their last breath.
And have somebody.
Yeah.
Thank God I got my 3 daughters, my cousins, my nieces, my nephews, and surrounded. And I had a beautiful mass at Holy Saviors with Monsignor
But
San
we
Germano.
have a bereavement coordinator, though. I mean, even if anybody else in your family needs to talk,
Or anybody
somebody
on
has some
hospice.
skill, you
That's-
know,
that's the
both
point
Crystal
there.
and
You follow
Jeannie,
up on that.
right? Absolutely,
Right.
you know, and they've got education and experience, and so we follow for 13 months. And the reason it's 13 months is that sometimes it takes almost a year, the year anniversary,
Yeah.
you know, and boom, you know, it comes. So we don't want anybody go just on the anniversary. So
And
at least for 13 months, and even afterwards, if need be, we'll follow up, offer memorial services,
Well, I
groups, counseling.
I remember you brought a machine about this high, this long, an oxygen. Where,
Right,
Where she
right.
was using oxygen, where she needed oxygen. Then you had another one where the thing that steams
A nebulizer treatment.
Yeah.
And
that
those
there.
would be
Well, all
for,
this equipment and stuff you brought into the house to help her try and, keep alive, stay alive.
keep her comfortable.
Yeah, and comfortable, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, grief is real, and grief comes and goes in waves, and grief is normal, but at the same time, grief can be where you go into depression that's not normal, to go into severe depression, but we do have that follow-up team called bereavement coordinator that will help in that grieving process.
Is it fair for me to say that even though there's no serious sickness in the family, in the home, to call hospice, okay, and find out what's available out there? You think that would be?
Well,
you got
that
a
would,
number, get a number to call?
Yeah, that would be okay for education, but
Right.
probably you're going to get the number and start looking when your doctor would say, I think it's time for mom or dad to be on hospice. So I'm going to kind of end with this, is that if you feel that your loved one needs hospice care, you could always call any hospice to get an evaluation for service of care.
Well, our half hour is over.
It was
Give
quick.
me 30 seconds. Tell me what you do for the family now.
Life is joy, but part of that joy living is dealing with limitations, and so we understand the limitations cause every day to be precious.
Right.
So we want to live each day to its fullest. So we help people do that.
And what was that? What would you? Could you
30
say-
seconds and tell me what hospice for the family.
For the family, if you have any negative thoughts on hospice, please just disregard those. I know it's a difficult word and a difficult time, but trust me, we are a care service to provide, to do quality care, and to help the family and to help the patient.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much. I thought this was an interesting show and my wife, Dolores, passed away. She's no tubes, no this. I didn't have to make no decision about pulling the plug or anything. She went very softly, just like went to sleep, up in heaven.
In her
Beautiful
home.
mass, friends surrounded by family, and you can't ask for anything more than that. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hank.
Thank
And
you very much.
This,
Our
May God
privilege.
bless each and every one. Thank you.
thank you. Thanks, Hank.